Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition, aka your friendly neighbourhood spoiler man, and with the first mega phase of the MCU being wrapped up in what is now known as the Infinity Saga, I thought I'd look back over the past 11 years of Marvel movies to break down the best Easter egg. This consistency ran all the way from Iron Man up to Avengers Endgame and is the perfect example of just how much attention to detail that Marvel Studios really put into their movies. It also carries with it a lot of foreshadowing, which I'll get into later, but it's one of the neatest little Easter eggs in a film that I've ever seen. Now there will be heavy spoilers here, so if for whatever reason you aren't fully up to speed with the MCU, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. With that out of the way, I just want to give a huge thank you for clicking this video. Now let's get into my breakdown of the best MCU Easter egg. Okay, so the first major consistency that carries all the way through the Infinity Saga is IronMan's arm injury. This little detail appears throughout every film that the character is in and gets worse and worse over time the longer things go on. He first sustains this during his self-titled origin movie on his escape from the cave. Iron Man gets his arm stuck in a rock and has to yank it out, and then later he damages it further on his first mission when he travels to the Middle East to defeat the hostile forces that held him captive. Iron Man is blasted out of the sky by a tank that hits him right in his left shoulder and sends him flying to the ground. Whilst the character should be able to just shake this off, this arm again is badly damaged during the next film. In Iron Man 2, when reviewing his suit damage after his battle with Whiplash, we can see once again that his armour is severely damaged in this location. This is due to not only his arm being set on fire before the fight, but also because he went head to head with the villain and took one of his whips directly to his limb. Skip to the next film. After Iron Man crash lands in the wilderness in Iron Man 3, he once more sits up and goes for his arm, which will no doubt be in a lot of pain. In Age of Ultron, during the Hulkbuster fight, his arm gets a lamppost thrust through it by the Hulk, and all these injuries just continue to mount up and up. Fast forward to Civil War, and when Tony's with Captain America, he pays lip service to the injury by saying that his arm is numb and asking if that's normal. In the airport scene when going toe to toe with Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, the latter throws several cars at him in order to bury him, and we can clearly see one landing directly on his left arm once more, making the injury even worse. Later in the movie, Tony is seen nursing it in a sling, and before suiting up to go and meet Cap and Bucky for the final battle, he can be seen holding it. During the fight with the two, Tony falls directly on his left arm, once more causing a lot more damage. When reading Cap's letter at the end of the film, we can visibly see Tony Stark's arm and the letter shaking, which shows that he has now gained some nerve damage to it and is unable to properly hold the limb completely still. Next up is Spider-Man Homecoming, in which he can be seen resting and steadying it once more when taking away the suit from the webhead. The first thing he does when stepping out of the armour is to grab his wrist, which shows that he's still suffering a lot of pain from it. Jump forward to Infinity War, and when going head to head with Thanos, Tony uses all of his nanotech on his arm to make a blade, which fails to take down the Titan, and then the character gets injured once more after being stabbed by his own weapon. Whilst he doesn't sustain any massive injuries directly here, he's still hurt when being pushed back on his bad arm, and when Spider-Man dies right in front of him, the character can be seen once more holding his wrist. Now you may be wondering why I've even bothered to make a video about all of this, but it all comes to a head in Avengers Endgame when Tony wields the Infinity Gauntlet. A complete opposite to Thanos, Tony decides to wear the gauntlet on his right hand, even though Thanos did it with the left, purely because it's his weaker arm. Tony just doesn't want to potentially risk using the gauntlet on his bad hand, and thus he deliberately picks the opposite side just in case he needs to wield the stones at some point. It's a nice little bit of foreshadowing that was highlighted at the beginning of the MCU when we get a heavy focus on Iron Man's left arm, the first time that we ever see him in the film. Now this last part is pretty much a fan theory, but I think it makes a lot of sense. The MCU is amazing at foreshadowing, and I can't think of any other reason why they deliberately kept bringing back his arm injury over and over again. Obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and if you spotted an even better Easter egg, then make sure you leave it in the comment section below. If you want something else to watch after this, then make sure you check out my breakdown of every time that Mysterio appeared in the background of a scene during Spider-Man Far From Home, which will be linked at the end. I go over all of the early appearances before the two characters meet, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. If you want to come talk to me about movies, TV shows, games and comic books, then you can follow me on Twitter at DefinitionYT. It's the best way to get in touch with me, and it's the perfect place to suggest new videos and content, so hopefully I'll see you over there after this. Also, just want to let you know that we're giving away a free copy of Spider-Man Far From Home on Blu-ray, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is to like this video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts on this Easter egg in the comment section below. The winner will be chosen at random on October the 15th, and the Blu-ray will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. This is a channel for people who are super into superheroes, so if that's the kind of thing you like, hit subscribe. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this. I've been Definition, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.